Greetings, family. Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru, and thanks for visiting my channel. Family, this video is a disturbing video of a dash cam video that shows a white cop punching a black man during a traffic stop. So what's new? A dash cam video of a traffic stop that led to a white police officer with a history of disciplinary issues repeatedly punching a black man and hitting his head on the pavement appears to show a different sequence of events than what the police had originally reported. That's right, this isn't a first, and unfortunately it won't be a last, but the police often report one thing that happens to not be truthful, especially when video footage surfaces. But I digress, let's continue. The initial statement from police in the Cleveland suburb of Euclid said Richard Hubbard III, who was pulled over on suspicion of having a suspended driver's license, had refused Officer Michael Amiot's orders to, quote, face away after getting out of his car August 12th and then began resisting. But the video obtained this week in a public records request appears to show Amiot not giving Hubbard a chance to comply. Hubbard's attorney said Friday, quote, your own two eyes and common sense can lead to only one reasonable conclusion as to the propriety of the level of force used for a basic traffic stop and whether or not my client had a chance to comply, attorney Christopher McNeil said. The dashcam video shows Amiot opening the car door and Hubbard getting out. Within a second of Amiot ordering him to face away, the video shows the officer grabbing Hubbard's arms and wrestling him to the ground in the middle of a street as Hubbard's girlfriend jumps out of the car and rushes over. The video shows Amiot bashing Hubbard's head against the pavement several times and then punching him in the head more than a dozen times as Hubbard tries to defend himself. Now, that's a key component, fellow Americans. Whether you are white, black, Mexican, Asian, or whatever, the police constantly use this same excuse towards black people. When you say, how is it that black people are being discriminated against, or how is it that we're being racism is towards us, this is an example. Make note of it. This is an example. I'm letting you know right now. It's traffic stops like this where the police will say that we're resisting arrest when in fact we're trying to defend ourselves from being clobbered to death by rogue police officers. White males and white females, you claim to have high IQs. Why is it that it appears that you don't have any IQ? Why is it that it appears that you can never face reality? Why is it that you can never come to the conclusion, a logical conclusion, after seeing what's right and what's wrong? That's a problem. That's how we know that there's something wrong with white people. You say, oh, you're being racist. Am I? How is it that we always see things differently? We need to investigate and talk about that, don't we? Have an honest and open discussion, don't we? Oh yeah, without the mudslinging and name-calling. But I digress. Let's get back to the story. I'm about to show you exactly what happens. And this is from video footage. You know, evidence, receipts, those type of things that you should be able to use in a court of law to prove a case. But no, not in a white supremacist or a so-called supremacist, I'll just say a white inferiority situation. We never see justice done right. It's always wrong. There's a failure in this justice system. There needs to be a reform, a complete overhaul. Johnny Cochran mentioned in his book, A Journey to Justice, how every case he's seen that black men and black women came into his office to discuss they all had the same charges of resisting arrest. And you know what the telling truth of it all is? That the victims were the ones that were always bruised up, had bandages, had to go to the hospital, while the police were just fine. And this is what white people say is okay. And you expect us to be nice to you and be your friends? That's a problem. It's really a problem for black people who continue to be their friends and be a convenience for them to make them feel better when they're not fighting for you. Now, we're starting to see some white NFL players who are actually starting to take the lead and call justice what it is. And they're calling their support for Colin Kaepernick. Yes, that's white players now. They're starting to finally get it. But anyways, I got off track for a minute. Let's take a look at this video.
Yeah, that's right. Alright, step off. Face away from me. Face away from me.
Well, right now he is still dealing with some significant physical, mental, and emotional trauma. So he is not in a good place. Any reasonable, unbiased person with minimal intelligence can use their own eyesight and common sense and determine whether or not that officer's actions were reasonable for a basic traffic stop. I will add, however, that I believe reasonable minds can only come to one conclusion.
Minimal intelligence, he said. And see? This is how white supremacists protect themselves. It's so disgusting. It's despicable. It's not justice at all. This is how white people protect themselves. And it's wrong and it's shameful. It has nothing to do with justice. So as you can see, that was just flat dead wrong. But as the attorney said, you have to have minimal intelligence with a dose of common sense to realize that those police officers were dead wrong in how they carried this out. But then you have the blue wall coming right behind them, supporting them. And this is what we constantly have to deal with. And white people do not understand this. I'm going to end this off now. Thanks for watching. Peace and love to you and yours. Until the next video, take care of yourself.